Hello everybody and welcome back to the G-Rated Family Gaming Channel. I just want to show you guys real quick how you can use this free program called OBS Studio to record your desktop. So it's like a free recording of your desktop. If you're playing games like Roblox or whatever, if you're doing anything on your desktop, you can just record it and then you can use that video to edit later on. But first things first, you want to get this piece of software, OBS Studio. Go to obsproject.com and then go and download it for whether you've got Windows, you've got Mac operating system, or Linux. You got to click on the correct one. Make sure that when you get it and you are going through the install process, so you just click on that and then you will start downloading it. Once you get it, I've already got it downloaded onto my computer, but what you want to do is make sure you just go through the basic things, you install, you click yes. It is a perfectly safe program. It's not going to mess with your system. It's not going to get you hacked or anything. Always feel free to go in and donate to them or hit up the community chat if you have any specific questions. I also have videos on my channel on how to use this for live streaming. It is a live streaming platform, but right now, today, we are just going to show you guys how to record your desktop. Again, if you want all the cool bells and whistles, make sure when you go through the install process that you add all of the add-ons. They are all useful, and you got to make sure you can have browser sources and stuff like that. So first things first, when you open up OBS program, you're going to see something here. First things first, when you open up OBS Studio here, you're going to basically have a blank screen. What you want to do is come over here into Scenes and click the plus, and then you click plus, you create your scene. I'm just going to call this one for the tutorial. I've called it New Scene, and I've already created it over here. So we are here in New Scene. There are no sources. Sources are basically, these are what is going to be showing up here and what is going to be recorded. Then there's also here, you can see where it starts streaming, start recording, and different information about the studio and the various settings. Down here in the mixer, it is going to show your audio stuff. You've got your desktop audio and then your input microphone. So if you're recording the input, like if you're talking to somebody in a game or something, and you want the sound or the sound from the game to be recorded, then that would be your desktop audio, and you want to turn that on. Right now I don't have anything playing, so that's not moving. This is moving because this is my microphone that I have plugged in, and that's going to show up. If I want that to not be heard, then I can click that to mute that as well. So first, in order to start recording on your desktop, you want to go to Files, and then I would click on Settings over here. Here in the Settings menu, you can set all of your general stuff. I would leave most of this stuff just default what it is. For the stream, that's where you do your settings right there. For the output, so what you're really focusing on here, though, is the recording tab. The recording tab, you can come in here, you pick the type. I just go with standard recording. I wouldn't do any of the custom stuff because there's certain types of recordings that, you know, if it crashes, that it will not recover, where certain types of recordings will actually recover a little bit better. So pick standard recording path. Just pick the path here. You can click browse and then go browse to the location so you know exactly where your videos end up when you're done with the recording. Generate a file without spaces. That's up to you. I don't mind if there's spaces in my file name. Recording format, make sure you do MKV, because a lot of these other ones, you know, if you do MP4 and it crashes, it might not work. It'll even give you a message down here. MP4 may be unrecoverable, and it may not, you may have losses in the final file. So instead of doing MK4, do MKV. That works great, and usually it's recoverable. Pick an audio track. I just pick one. I mean, it's not like, unless you have a whole bunch of different audio tracks incoming, and then you can try to pick more than one, but it says, you know, certain formats do not support multiple track recording, so I think we're good to go. Just stick with the one format. Encoder, do X264, and for rescaling the output, basically what it has in the video settings, we'll look at those if you go to the video settings, but if you want to rescale the output, you can do that, and it'll make it, this is the monitor that I've got right now. You can rescale it at 1280 by 720, or if your input is just 1920 by 1080, or even bigger than that, you can scale it down. Like if you're 4K, you want to scale it down to just regular 1920 by 1080, then you can do that. I will kind of usually keep mine whatever the input is, so I don't rescale the output. The video is where we'll show you the settings there. I don't have any custom muxer settings. Rate control, CBR, bit rate, you know, it needs to be lower when you're streaming, but it's not like you're trying to upload, so you can do a pretty high bit rate, and I set mine to 9,000. If you've got it over like 4,000, it's gonna look good, but it's gonna just look even better. So you can kind of go for whatever bit rate you want over there, and the file size will be a little bit bigger. If you want to use a custom buffer size, you can. I don't do that. it just kind of uses the buffer and I let it work automatically. Here are keyframe intervals. A lot of people will set this to 2. That's what I have it on during live streams, but for recordings I just set it to auto 0. CPU usage, you can make it these kind of determine like how much of your processor you're using. You can tell down here, mess with the different settings here, like I've got it on very fast. Super fast seems to work pretty well for me, but see what these settings are, and then later you can see the CPU usage down here in the bottom right corner of OBS, and you can kind of determine whether or not you should set it to a different value, and if your processor can handle that. Profile, I just do none. Tune, I do none. Usually if it's like live streaming, I set it to 0 latency, but we're not doing that. So just leave these settings. This is the way I've got mine set, basically. If you want to do some extra stuff on your audio, like in track 1, if you want to set it to a higher rate, like 256, then that is up to you. You can have kind of a higher quality, but you may or may not notice. I don't really have the replay buffer enabled, so that's the output settings. Over here in video, the base resolution, it will detect automatically for you. I've got 1920 by 1080. You can scale the output resolution here. Again, you can scale it in the output as well, so there's 2 different places that you can scale the output. I just leave it 1920. And I do, for live streams, 30 frames per second, but if you have a processor that can handle it and you want a little higher quality video, you can set it to 60 frames per second, but you will see that will actually make your CPU usage go up when you're recording, so make sure you're not overloading your CPU and that your CPU can handle it. If you have a lot of RAM in your system, you can easily do 1920 and 60 frames per second. It's not going to be a problem. So once you have all your settings there where you want to go, you've got your output, you've got your video stuff. For the recording tab, then select OK. So basically now you've got this blank screen, so if you start recording you're not going to get anything, you're just going to get your audio. So you want to add a source here, so click the plus here and the sources at the bottom, and then you want to scroll up to display capture. So go to display capture, and then we can just say this is display capture, demo. We're going to do a display capture demo, so that's the name of the source. So you click OK, and then over here it's going to show your display. Okay, so my display that I wanted to show you was in a different scene already, so I just added the existing, but basically the way I did the display capture demo, that's exactly how you add another display. So once you've got your display here, my source is actually a little bit smaller than the 1920, so you can actually grab this and make it a little bit bigger. If you want to not show this stuff at the bottom, you can do cropping later when you do editing of your video, but you can also just kind of crop this out a little bit if you want to make it bigger. You might end up cutting off some of the sides just to keep the ratio the way it is, but that's up to you, however you want to crop or get rid of the video. So now what this is doing is this is just recording my desktop. If I move this down or out of the way, you can't really see it, but we can move this a little bit further down, and whatever is on this display that we've got here is showing up here. So all you have to do at this point is start recording. Once you press the start record button here, you don't want to, make sure you know the difference between start streaming and start recording, because if you don't want to stream, make sure you are pressing the right button. I've done that before. I wanted to record and I started streaming, didn't realize I was streaming, so make sure you guys are paying attention to that. So after that, just press start recording, and then you're going to stop. It's going to start recording this video. It's going to start recording everything you've got there on the desktop. As you can see, you can move here. You can start playing your video games or whatever you're doing here on the desktop, and then as soon as you're done recording your video, you press stop recording, and then it's going to save the file to where you saved it. Okay, now we're going to navigate to this spot where we put our video. So OBS video out is where we went, and we've got this, and it's got a date timestamp on it, and this is the video that we just recorded. So I hope this has been super helpful for you guys today. If you have any questions, then let me know in the comments below, and I will try to do anything I can to help get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notifications every time we do new tutorials or live streams or other videos.